Flosstube. My name is Marty and I go by Triple M Stitching here on the internet. And thank you so much for clicking on my video. I think it's been a little less than 2 weeks since I filmed last, and that video didn't get posted right away, so time is weird. But I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to everyone who was so kind and supportive on my previous video, which was the first video I'd posted in quite a while. Everyone was very supportive and just excited to click on the video, I guess, and that was very sweet that they were willing to show that support. So thank you to those who were excited, and if you're new to my channel, I want to say hi, and I'm excited to get to know you as well. Just kind of for an overview and outline of the video, I'm going to talk about what I've been working on. I have 3 works in progress, which then turned into 3 finishes that I'll show. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some stash acquisitions, some shopping that I brought in. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about plans. And then I want to talk about dimensions kits and show some of the ones I have at the end because I want to start a dimensions kit and I need help. So that is a rough overview for the video. And let's get started here with what I worked on. So I'm going to be referencing probably quite a bit my cross-stitch planner. I always really like it when people show their journals or planners or whatever they might happen to use for tracking cross-stitch, planning for cross-stitch, and crafts. I know not everyone uses one, but I love it when people show that on their videos. So I'm going to show mine. Mine is a happy planner, like tall, skinny one that I got on clearance recently. It's 2023, and if you watched my last video, I told the story about how I lost my cross-stitch bullet journal. It's somewhere in my apartment, but I think it grew legs and walked away because I have scoured this apartment and cannot find it. So I'm hoping it, as my friend Heron would say, grows legs and walks back to me because I don't know where it is. But let's get started. So last time we spoke, I was about to head to my mom's house for a little bit. I'm actually about to go stay with her again tonight, so that kind of works out. How I've been using this planner is on some of the notes pages for the months that have already passed, like January and February. I'm tracking my works in progress, and I am also tracking my finishes for the year. So that was a surprise, a spoiler alert, I guess. And then so this is the March month at a glance page, and so I'm right here. So I'm just writing down everything that I work on that day, and then I can set some goals over here for the month. And yeah, I've been really enjoying using this planner that way, and I've been enjoying just kind of seeing everything I've worked on as a running list. I don't count stitches or time or anything, but yeah, that's about it. And then on the individual days that I work on something, I kind of write what happened, what I actually worked on, and then if anything notable happened that day, like if I finished a project or if I was sick or I actually got offered a new job this week, so that's kind of a little life update. So I'm writing that down too, just kind of to jog my memory for Flosstube, but also just kind of as a personal record of my life. So yeah. So I guess I will say so I was working previously with in a preschool with childcare, and I've been interviewing for library jobs. I got my master's in library science this past December. I finished. And so I've been kind of job searching for something in that field, and I found one, and I'm really excited about it. So if you're interested in the library science field, message me on Instagram. My handle is Triple M Stitching, and we can chat about it, but I won't go into too much detail here. So yeah, let's get started. So when I last spoke to you, like I said, I was going to my mom's house, and I was working on His Name is Jesus by Joyful Expressions, and I was also working on the Cookie Exchange Stitch Along by Hands On Design. And before I went to my mom's house, I had 3 things to backstitch and the snow to do on the Cookie Exchange. And so I wanted to finish that up before I went to her house, just to kind of have that be done with because I was so close to a finish. This one was hanging out and living in this Bags by Wendy bag. I try and show the accessories that I use, but sometimes I forget. So just ask me questions if you need to. I don't have a cover photo for that one, but that's okay because it's finished. So here is my finished piece. This one was super fun to work on. It's on the called for 16 count Ada by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I think. I'm pretty positive. But I really enjoyed kind of watching this one come to life because I did some of the bigger things first and then left a lot of the details to the end, which is kind of how I stitched a lot of things. But watching it kind of come alive was really fun. And yeah, I hadn't worked on a Christmas project. I guess I don't always stitch on the holiday and the season and that kind of thing. So it was kind of fun to do something Christmassy. And this really reminds me of the Great British Bake Off for some reason, just kind of the general vibe of it. So that was fun. And then I have this piece, this like decor piece thing that I got on clearance. And it says, "Happiness is Grandma's house," which isn't super relevant to me. But I think I want to try and like maybe paint the background or like use polka dot fabric or something to cover it up. And then finish this in here. I think it'll look cute with the scallops and everything. So this is the goal. But that probably won't happen until closer to Christmas. And then after that, I picked up His Name is Jesus and worked on that at my mom's house and then for a few days afterwards. And I'll show that after I show this next project. But I had a new start and a finish in the time that since we last spoke because so my husband and I live really close to a nature preserve. I live in upstate South Carolina, and there is this kind of wetland nature preserve really close to where we live. And so there are some great blue herons that are nesting in the snags of dead trees. And we go multiple times a week just to walk and get outside, get exercise and fresh air. And it's a beautiful place, but we've been going multiple times a week because there are, I think 3 pairs of nesting great blue herons currently, and just kind of seeing them build their nests and being able to look at them through binoculars from like the observation boardwalk thing. And it's just been really fun and special. And we've kind of watched them build their nests. And now there are some birds that are like sitting full time. They're always birds in these certain nests. And so I think they might have eggs in there now. I'm not sure. And you can watch them fly around and they fly through the air together so beautifully. And yeah, it's really special to watch these nests grow. We can watch them bring sticks back to the bird that's in the nest. And yeah, it's been very special. And so I wanted to cross stitch something to remember that by. And it was funny. I was with my husband. We were out to lunch and I was telling him we had just been out to watch them. And I was like, I should cross stitch something to remember this. Like I wanted to like find a pattern that's like small and easy, something that I could start that wouldn't be too much commitment. And I had showed him some on Etsy and he liked some. And then he was like, "Don't you have one?" And I was like, "No." But he was right. I did have a Heron cross-stitch kit. It is from Artist Design. It's her Chesapeake Bay Treasure series. It's number 2 in the series. And it's called Blue Heron. And so this is the cover photo. I bought this as a full kit. So it came with the Ada and then the backing fabric to make it into a pillow, a little like patch to put over the tear where you stuff the pillow, a charm, and then there was a needle in there. And it also came with all of the silk floss you need. This is just what I have left, like some measly strands. But it is Silks for You PR 035. It's very pretty. And you stitch this 1/1 on 18 count Ada. And here is what I accomplished. I have done one of these kits before, which I'll show you in a minute. But I think Amanda may have Artist Design dyes this fabric herself, if I remember correctly. And she lives in Maryland, and so the Chesapeake Bay animals are special to her. But yeah, I love these kits because stitching 1/1 with the silk on the 18 count is just so satisfying. The coverage is good. The stitches are neat. And so I have a hank of silk that I think I wanted to give away a while back. That I want to find maybe like a monochromatic piece to do with or something because it's just so soothing, like a bigger piece. But yeah, so here's the great blue heron. Got some crabs and some fish friends. And yeah. So let me go ahead and show you my previous finish of those kits. I stitched this, like, not this past summer, but the summer before. This one in 2021, as I'm looking at the project, it's reminding me. This is Chesapeake Bay Treasures #1, Maryland Blue Crab from Artist Design. In this one, she gave you a patch of Ada to stitch the year for when you finish it into a pillow. And again, the backing fabric, the silk came with it, and then this little pearl pin to attach to it at the end. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So same thing, 18 count, 1/1. The color is a little bit darker than what it's coming on the screen. But I remember I stitched this when we were living in Maryland. I bought it, and then we came back to South Carolina for 4th of July weekend one year to my husband's grandparents' mountain house. And so I just like very distinctly remember working on this piece then. And so now that I have 2 of these done, I really want to try and make them into pillows. I have a sewing machine, and there's pillows making instruction comes with the kit. I have a sewing machine that I have an incredibly loose grasp on how to use, and I haven't touched it in like 3 years. And so I think one of my goals, not for this week because this week's kind of wild, but for next week is to get these finished, at least attempt to get them finished into pillows. Like I said, there's instructions in there, and I found a few videos online. I need to buy some supplies, like stuffing, pillow stuffing. But yeah, I think I want to attempt it. I've made a pillow before on my sewing machine. It was not cross stitch. It was just regular Atlanta Braze fabric. Was a present for my brother. But yeah, I think I want to try and pull it out. If you have any tips for sewing straight, I have some fabric that I can just make like a test pillow with. And so I think I'm going to do that first. But yeah, that's kind of a scary goal, but I think I'm going to write it in my planner because then if I do it, I get to check it off, and that's just very satisfying to me. And so I started Blue Heron on Sunday the 12th and worked on it until the 15th of March, and then that's when I finished it. And that day I also worked on His Name is Jesus, and I actually had a job interview that day too. So yeah, that kind of rounds that out. I really recommend the kits from Artist Design. She has a few others. I own 2 of them. I own the Wild Horse one and I think it's Swans. And then I think she's released a Seahorse one since I fell off the face of the cross-stitch earth that I also want to get because I love them. I'd love to have them all finished as pillows in a dough bowl or something. So yeah, that's about it for Blue Heron. And so then I picked His Name is Jesus back up. This piece is by Joyful Expressions Needlework. It is like a complimentary gift chart if you sign up for their newsletter. And I also finished that one last night, actually. I was really hoping to finish it before today so I could film this video when I got home from work. But here is the finish. Let me get a good angle. So it has His Name is Jesus in the middle, and then a bunch of different biblical names for God all around it in different fonts. And that made it so much fun to stitch. I think other people I've seen on Flosstube, I found this piece from Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy, here on Flosstube, and she's commented how fun the fonts are to do, and I totally agree. So I'll try and do some clumsy up-close work here. Obviously, I am not good at centering. I should just go ahead and do center starts because I can't figure it out. But I'm kind of toying with the idea of having this one professionally framed because it's a little bit larger than anything I framed myself. And I think it would just look really good with a mat. So yeah, maybe when one of the craft stores does like a framing sale, I can get this one framed because I have a spot actually right over here in my house that I'd love to put this piece. I stitched it on 28 count even weave in China Pearl from Witchilt, and I used so the pattern gives you 2 different colorway options, like a mauve and a blue, and I liked the blue colorway, but I actually used some Victorian motto threads for it. I had this like blue pack from them saved to my Etsy, but I had nothing to stitch it with, so I hadn't purchased it. But then this came along, and I was like, that's perfect. So it came with 5, and I only used 3. But this is Flag. And the deepest one is Cobalt, which is really pretty. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry. There we go. Sorry for my straggly ends there. And then Colonial Bluebonnet. This is one's kind of, it's a little tealier than it's showing up, but it's really pretty. And so I loved working with those Victorian motto threads. I would happily work with them again if I could. It's kind of tough because there's not a lot of pieces. Like if a pattern calls for like 20 colors, I personally don't think I would buy 20 Victorian mottos, but I would love to find a piece that I could use some more of these blues for because they were really enjoyable to work with. So yeah, that's my finish on His Name is Jesus. I started this sometime in 2021. If I ever find my old bullet journal, I can provide some more context on when I started this. But it went fairly fast just because it's words, and for me, words go pretty fast. So that was really fun, and it felt really good to finish it. And yeah, it's definitely as a person of faith, a very meaningful piece for me. And so I can't wait to get it framed and displayed in my house. And that is all 3 projects that I've worked on since I spoke with you last. Let's talk about plans a little bit. Because I finished that last night at past my bedtime. I need to work on something else today. And so I haven't decided what that's going to be and what I'm going to take to my mom's house and out of town. I'm going out of town later in the week as well. So I'm not quite sure what that's going to end up being. But yeah, I have some other things to chat about. Oh, let me show you my husband's work in progress. He also stitches, and I've shown his work before. He's working on Pretty Little Washington, D.C. by Satsuma Street. We lived at the University of Maryland for 2 years when we first got married, and so that was really close to Washington, D.C. And so here is his progress. He's done a lot of, so this is very blocky stitching. So he's done all these stairs. He's added these pretty cherry blossoms, part of the Jefferson Memorial, part of the tidal basin here, and then I'm not sure what that building is, but he's done it. We're big Mandalorian fans, if you can't tell. And so yeah, he's really excited to keep working on that. It is on 14 count oatmeal Aida with everything called for by the pattern. Yeah, he's out of town and he thought about taking it, but he did not, so I got to keep it and show it on the video. So for my own personal plans, I kind of have, so we have plans and then haul and then dimensions kit chat left. I have several different routes I can take with what I work on next, and it shouldn't be this hard to decide, but for some reason it is. So the first thing I'll talk about is I'll try and remember to put this website in the description box because the name of it is kind of hard. Okay, let me pull it up. I can probably zoom in on my iPad here. www.stitchpoint.com. And I had a verse from a worship song we sing in church that I had wanted to cross stitch, but I have 0 experience doing a pattern. And so I'd considered buying a pattern, an alphabet pattern on Etsy, but I was getting unnecessarily stressed about how to lay it out because I wanted to do 4 lines of text, and I trying to think about how to align them and do the spacing was just kind of preventing me from getting any traction on it really. And so I was willing to pay. I was looking for different sites that I could get a custom text pattern, and so I found one and it was free and it was a really cool website, and so I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to show the pattern kind of from afar, but how it works was, so on the screen, you can pick from some fonts they have, and then there's a keyboard on the screen, and you just click what letters you want, and you can do spaces and special characters and apostrophes and exclamation marks and all that stuff. And yeah, it just kind of generates a pattern for you, and I saved it as a PDF, and you can print it out or use it from your iPad or whatever your preference is. And so that was a really cool resource, and I think this is going to be kind of good to have on deck for gifts and things like that. Like if I want to stitch a song or a Bible verse or something for a gift for a friend or a family member. So I'll show you from afar. This is the pattern that I designed. It's kind of hard to see. I don't want to get too close to like protect their alphabet pattern. But it's a worship song kind of about, saying Jesus sounds really vague, but it says, "O bitter cup, O costly grace, our God unveiled in Jesus' face," and kind of talking about the weightiness and the heaviness of Christ's death for us. We had listened. One of our teaching pastors had done a teaching on kind of the history, like throughout like Old Testament history, when humans wanted to interact with God, it was kind of like a physical place. It was in a veiled area of a temple or in a tabernacle. I'm going to butcher all of this because I'm not very eloquent. But when Jesus came to earth, instead of having to meet God in like a specific place, kind of Jesus came and unveiled God to the world in a way. So it says, "Our God unveiled in Jesus' face." And that was kind of a mishmash of me explaining that. But I thought that would be a really good piece to do for Easter coming up. And so, yeah, I want to go ahead and get that designed. I haven't picked colors for it yet. I was thinking about doing, I think it's called Carolina Sand Ada somewhere in my stash, so I'll have to dig through. That's kind of like it's like oatmeal but gray. So it's like a flecked kind of gray color. That was weird, but I was kind of envisioning potentially doing like a gradient of purple colors to go along with Easter, like the Easter time, like maybe pastel purples or something, and like a deep purple to pastel. So that's kind of my vision. I'm not sure if I want to start that yet after having just done a piece that's so heavy on words and letters. I really enjoyed that, but I don't want to burn out on words and letters, so I'm kind of flip-flopping. But yeah, I wanted to kind of highlight stitchpoint.com just because I'm very grateful that they existed, and I was able to kind of make this very vague idea I had in my head a real thing that I get to stitch now. So that is one option for what I work on next. Another option is going back to one of my old whips that I had from 2021 and 2022. But I'm just not sure. So I have the Cozy Cafe Club from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I can show a cover photo. So this is what it looks like. I am super close to being done. I have like a little bit in this chai tea cup or chai latte cup. I have to fill in the actual tea color. And then I have to do this hot cocoa bear. Peppermint cocoa. And it's just been kind of sitting in my whip pile for like a really long time. And I don't really have that much motivation to finish it for some reason. Like I really do like it. I think the pattern's adorable, but I think I had much more motivation when it was like every month and it was exciting. But once I got off track, now I'm just like, I don't know when to work on it. So I thought about working on that maybe today while I'm home and then taking a different piece traveling. But then the piece that I would take traveling would be a new start. So yeah, this is just like the inner machinations of my mind are kind of crazy. So I'm kind of leaning towards doing that, taking the Cozy Cafe Club. But my other options, I have two patterns that I want to start kind of soon, hopefully in March. And this is my like small patterns binder that has like half-size charts in it. And let me flip and show you what I'm thinking about. So I did the Hello Spring piece that I finished and showed in my last video. And now I kind of want to do a summer piece. And I already had this one in my stash. And I think I won this in a giveaway. This is Hello Summer by It's So Emma. It's really cute. I love these popsicles. I love this rocket pop here on the end. That was my favorite growing up. I loved them. And so that is what I'm leaning towards. First, maybe just so I can have it done, and I have no idea how I'd fully finish it. And I have a piece of navy blue Ada that is kind of the perfect scrap for it if I start in the middle and don't do what I did with His Name is Jesus and make sure that I have an okay margin. I think I would have 1.5 inches on the top and bottom, which is fine. I can just finish it really close in, kind of how they show in the pattern, in the cover photo. So I'm leaning towards that one. I'll show you my next option because I kind of just want to get this one started sometime this month to have it as a work in progress so I can pick it up easily. Because I think it'll be a good kind of on-the-go piece. This is going to be a gift for my mom who loves penguins. I love penguins too, but she loves penguins. She had a giant concrete penguin statue in her first apartment. She had collected them for a long time and then moved and got rid of all of them, and now she's trying to like decades ago got rid of all of them, and now she's trying to rebuild her penguin collection. And I was at the thrift store the other day, or a while back, and there was this giant penguin. It's half my height. It's a stuffed penguin. And I sent it to her as a joke, look at this funny penguin, haha. And then she texted me and she's like, I think we need that. Either you or I need to have that in our guest bedroom. And I was like, I don't personally want it. And so I bought it for her. And I strapped him into the buggy and sent her a picture of him riding in the buggy and staring at me. And in my car, I buckled him in, got him a snack at Trader Joe's, and we named him Carl. And now Carl lives with my mom, and he's huge. But this is much ado about penguins. But this is the Prairie Schooler 2022 Santa. And it's got the sweetest little baby penguin and the pretty lights and, yeah. And the big handsome penguins at the bottom. And I know she will love this. This looks exactly like something she would love. And this is kind of another motivation to learn how to do a pillow finish, because I think this would look really cute as a pillow. And so I kind of need to know how to do that before I do one that's going to be a gift. Because if mine turn out wonky, then I'll just say they have character and put them in the dough bowl anyway. But I want to gift one, I guess, to be a little nicer. And so I have a piece of fabric in my stash already ready. I got this one on Stash Unloading. It's 14 count vintage country mocha Ada. It does have some modeling that might be coming across. And yeah, I have done one Prairie Schooler Santa in the past. It was the one that has bunnies, and these are I think it says north wind, and they're blowing in the wind. And I'd love to make that one into a pillow for myself. I love bunnies too, and so I would like to have as a pillow, but I'm going to focus on hers first. So those are kind of my two on my immediate radar starts that are super ready to go. And I need to pull colors for them, but I'm pretty positive I have them in my DMC boxes, or at least something close enough. So yeah, that is where we are at for plans. But I guess you'll find out in my next video where we go. This, like I said before, is my half chart size pattern binder. I know sometimes people do flip throughs of their patterns and things on Flosstube. If that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments and I can film that. It's super easy. That'd be fun. If you're interested in knowing what patterns I have in my stash and that take up space in my brain. On the back here, I have this. I got this with an order of supplies from a store online. It's this cool guide that has needle sizes and fabric sizes and stuff. And yeah, I think that's it for plans. I guess my plans are, I have no plans. And so now let's move into, I guess, stash acquisitions and haul. Oh, but first I wanted to chat about cross-stitch hoops. So I stitch normally in a hoop or a Q-snap. I have 3 Q-snaps. I gave one to my husband, and I am more than thrilled to give that to him. And then I have 2 that I had an 11 by 11 and 8 by 8, and I made 2 8 by 11s, I think, if that makes sense. And they currently both have really large works in progress on them that I haven't touched in a while. But they're pretty big pieces of fabric, and so I've been just kind of leaving them on there because it is easier than wrangling the fabric. I think it just comes down to I'm just kind of too lazy to take them off and deal with them again. But I like stitching in hoops, so that's what I've been doing. I have this one. It has a name, and the name is escaping me. No slip hoop, maybe? It's got this like pretty intense like twisting mechanism up here. And I do like this one, and this one had always been great for me, and I just take it off. I like will stitch, take it off for the night, and put it back on to prevent hoop marks. But, and this is the only time this has ever happened, on my His Name is Jesus piece, I think I like pulled it too tight or did something. And this is like an even weave, so it's small, thinner little warp and weft threads. And in some places, it kind of, you probably can't, you're not going to be able to see. It like pulled the thread, like it pulled the threads apart so the holes were bigger. And there was like kind of a deformed place in the threads. And so that kind of freaked me out. And I like to stitch with really tight tension. I think that's my problem. So I think I pulled too hard. And the hoop does have like, let me show you, kind of like an inner groove and like a place that protrudes out to go into the groove, which I think helps hold it in. And maybe like somehow I pulled the fabric along that and it was just delicate and kind of, it's not torn. It's just, it's not even anymore. Like the fabrics kind of got all wonky, or the threads got all wonky. And so I'm like hesitant to use this one again, but I feel like with maybe a more hardier like Ada or something, it won't be a problem. I also have this Nerge tension hoop that I really like. It's kind of a smaller size, but this one, it's, when I first started cross-stitching and I saw these hoops, I had like zero concept of how they worked, and I was like, how are people, like, what is the magic of that? You squeeze this, and then the wire part pops out, and then you put your fabric in and just squeeze it back in. And I really like this. I feel like the tension is good. It's easy to hold. And yeah, I haven't had any issues with it. And so I'm thinking about getting the medium size, I think is a yellow color. You can get them on Amazon. I know different brands make them. This is the Nerge, or I think it's German. I'm just going to say Nerge. Nurge brand. And so they have one size, they have several sizes up. So I'm thinking about getting the next size up in this one to do slightly bigger projects with. So that's kind of my hoop chat, if you're interested. I also have like a hoop on a stick frame that you like kind of sit on. That was in storage for a long time and now is not. So I'm gonna try that again this week and see how I go with that. I know people like will wrap it in bias tape, the wooden part of those. And I think I have some bias tape I can do that with. I just have not. So yeah, I'm just kind of exploring different stitching options. But I do like really tight tension. So maybe I just need to get over that and be okay with it differently. But random tangent about hoops there. All right, stash acquisitions. Really only two things. Well, I guess this is kind of a stash acquisition. I use this mini iPad that my lovely friend Heron passed down to me. And I had been wanting something to put it in to throw in my backpack. And I thought about that, and the same day I went to the thrift store. And I found this lovely case for like $1. So thank you, thrift store. That was just nearby and it made me think of it. Okay, so the main section of this is an order I placed with Stony Creek Cross Stitch online because I bought, let me pull it up, if my iPad cooperates. Speaking of my iPad. Insert Jeopardy music here. I would sing, but everybody would click away from the video. Okay, here's a screenshot. It is by Fiddlesticks AU, and the pattern is called Droids Welcome. It's a Star Wars pattern, and that's BB-8. It's the name of that droid up there on the top. And it's got some different droids represented in the letters. And my husband and I are big Star Wars fans, and we've been watching the new season of The Mandalorian. So if you're watching that, DM me and we can talk. And I kind of wanted to do I realized I hadn't done a Star Wars pattern before, and I wanted to, so I had this on my wish list for a long time. I think I first saw Lolly from Lollipop Stitches work on this one like a while back. I think she actually converted a lot of it to a toile, which could be super, like the sparkly DMC, so that could be super fun. And so I purchased the pattern, and then it's called for on an Ada that is white with pale blue dots. And I was like, well, maybe I can just use a different fabric. And I would like went through all the ones in my stash and ones that I could look at the craft store or online, and I didn't like anything as much as that fabric that was called for. And so I placed this order on Stony Creek, and it's Aida 14 count petite point white with blue. It's a fat quarter. Might be kind of hard. The dots are pretty subtle, which I liked, and I liked the fabric enough that it's a larger piece of fabric and it's a small pattern, so it was a fabric that I was happy to have in stash to work on other projects with, so I think it'd be pretty versatile. And then while I was there, you don't have to pay for shipping for like one thing. And so there was a dimensions kit that I had been wanting for a while that I had seen on Jay's Stitching, Jay Jay's Stitching. She's on Instagram, and I think she used to make floss tubes. I think so. And she was working on this, and it was stitching up so pretty in person, like on her Instagram photos, that I added it to my wish list. And then when I was on Stony Creek, I was like, let me see if they have it, because I'm already paying for shipping. And so it's called Be a Light, Counted Cross Stitch Kit by Dimensions. She was stitching it, I think she's on one of the jars. And the colors were just so pretty and vibrant. So it's a full kit. It's on Navy Aida. Comes with 14 count Navy Aida, thread, a needle, and instructions. I think I've seen some people like punch a hole over here so you can wrangle your used threads as well. And so this is when I want to start, either in March or April. Well, probably April at this point. But yes, that was kind of my three things, was the pattern, the fabric, and this kit. And I think I'm going to go through my toile stash and see what I have and what I don't have that I could work for this pattern. I think I might make sparkly, inspired by lollipop stitches. So kind of thinking about dimensions kits, before I bought this, I had 3 other dimensions kits that I brought over to show you, because people post dimensions kits, and I've always wanted to do one myself. They just seem kind of intimidating. I'm used to working from a digital pattern a lot, and I know you can scan things in, and I'm going to send these patterns to work with my husband, and he can scan them in on his big scanner for me at work, because I'm used to working from my iPad and being able to zoom in, and so I think the idea of like wrangling these paper patterns not stressed me out, but felt like it was inhibiting me from starting it. And so the first dimensions kit I ever got was inspired by Sarah from the Stitchin' Mommy. She showed this, I think, in like an old finishes video that she had done. It's Dimensions Gold Collection Petite Voyage at Sea. And the colors in the sunset were super pretty in her finished piece. And yeah, I love the nautical theme. I think this was something that we would put in our home. And so I purchased that, and then realized, like, well, what was I thinking? I think this is way more than I can handle. Dimensions has, like, different threads, half stitches, blends. This one you attach cording somehow to it. Like, the cording comes with it. And so, yeah, I purchased this and was like, oh, good Lord, like, what have I done? And so I just, like, put it in my stash. And so I decided that maybe I need to ease into dimensions kits a little bit differently. And then, well, I guess this doesn't really count as that, but a little bit after I got that one, my friends in Maryland, we did a Secret Santa, and I put this one on my Amazon wish list because I think I had seen, oh gosh, I don't remember exactly who I'd seen stitch this. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going to guess. But this is Dimensions Gold Collection Petite, again, Coffee Shop. And I love how Christmassy and colorful this is. And so I put this on my, like, Secret Santa wish list on Amazon thing that we did. And someone bought it for me. Someone who had no idea anything about cross stitch. She said she ordered it. She was like, what is that? Like, I just got it because you wanted it. I don't know what that is. So that was really sweet. But then I saw it too, and I was like, well, that's just as bad as the Voyage at Sea. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. So I just, like, look at it lovingly and, like, haven't approached it. And so I decided that maybe the Dimensions Gold is not where I should jump in. I think it's definitely doable if some people will do that. I support that choice. but I think I decided I wanted to ease into it. And so I purchased this kit I'm going to show now last year. It's just regular dimensions, holiday home. And you can personalize it with your last name. And I love the colors on this one, the Christmas tree in the window, the back stitching in these stars, and the house. And so I think there's some French knots that might become beads. But that one I was like, it's bigger Ada. It is just less than the dimensions kit, the golds one, if you will. And so I think I'm going to do holiday home, or at least get like a chunk done on holiday home and Be a Light before I attempt my 2 gold collections ones, just to kind of get my feet under me. I know the back, so it might be hard to see. The leafy background in this one is only half stitches, or like a majority half stitches at least. And so I know there's blends in this one as well. And so I think between the 2 of these, like these would be like Dimensions 101, and then I would like graduate to these. That's kind of my thought process. If you are an experienced dimension stitcher, drop your wisdom below. I think I'm going to start, like I said, this one maybe like a April 1st start or something. And then I was thinking about starting this one for Christmas in July, which is like planning months in advance, but here we are. These 2 are 14 count Ada, and the gold are on 18 count. So yeah, I think I just kind of wanted to chat about that because I have never stitched anything by dimensions, but I do, like, I love these 4 designs so much. Like, these are some of my favorite designs in my whole collection, and so I want to get to a point where I'm excited and comfortable doing them, and that's kind of my thought process. But leave your tips and tricks below. If there's any Instagram accounts that stitch a lot of dimensions, I'd love to get some inspiration from there. Yeah, and just chat with some other stitchers about it. I think that's all I have to say. My basket is empty, except for my pen that's rolling around. And I have shown all of my things that I will now go tidy up. So that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching here to the end. I appreciate all of you for hanging out with me during your stitching or Flosstube time. And I will hope to be back in 2 weeks again and show you what I eventually landed on for my plans and what I've been working on. I'm excited to see all of you on the internet soon. Bye.